I recently listened to a podcast where a subscriber had sent a letter in to the hosts asking them how to sharpen cigar cutters. Well, that gave me the idea to look on YouTube to see if there were any other videos, and there were a couple where people use files and rolled up pieces of aluminum foil. And I thought I'd go ahead and show you the unique and low-cost way I sharpen my cigar cutters. All right, first things first, we're going to need our cutters, obviously, and then also some paper towels, some Q-tips, some isopropyl alcohol so we can clean the cutters before we get started. And once you have them cleaned and dried, we'll need a couple pieces of 1200 grit sandpaper. Now I've cut these about 3 or 4 inches long and about 3/4 inches wide. And we're also going to need some of these packing peanuts. And I will show you why in just a minute. All right, let's go ahead and get our cutters cleaned up, and then we will do the sharpening process. Okay, now that we have our cutters cleaned, let's go ahead and begin the sharpening process. So, we talked about the packing peanut. Just simply grab one that's about an inch, inch and a quarter long, and then get your piece of sandpaper and just pinch the peanut down a little bit here till it smashes it. We don't want to destroy it. And then once we've compressed it a little bit, just lay it on top of the sandpaper. And then we're going to make a little tool, a sharpening tool. We're going to roll this up into a cylinder. And this is what we're going to use to do the sharpening of each blade. Now keep in mind this won't work on a serrated cutter. However, on straight blades it's perfect. So we just simply, now be careful, we know we're dealing with sharp objects here in cutters, but I try to hold the cutter in one hand and then pull the other blade out of the way and simply just move back and forth across the blade and follow the contour, the angle of the blade. And I've found that a half a dozen or so sweeps like this is adequate. And then to catch the edges, you may need to manipulate the blade up or down. And then I just come over here and just push on the outer edge. And the same thing over here. Now, one thing we need to do, all we're doing is removing the burrs off of the sharpened one side of the blade. So what we need to do is turn the blade over, and then I have another piece that I can simply fold in half, and then this is the back side of the blade we just sharpened, and put it down on top of it like this, flatten it out. I use my thumb, and I just simply sweep back and forth as level and flat as I can, and we're removing any burrs that might have been there before or during the sharpening. So we just repeat that to the other side, and then we're ready to go. So how do we do a cutter like this? Simply, like we did the other one, we grab our piece. I need to tighten this back up again. So I'm going to roll that. And it does compress the packing peanut. All right, and then I simply push this part of the blade in, and same thing, I just sweep it back and forth, follow the contour. And what that's doing is removing any burrs that have manifested from numerous cigars being cut. You know, once again, you can push up against the sides. And I have found it just doesn't take a whole lot to put an edge back on a reasonably decent cutter. You know, again, repeat it over here on this side. Follow the angle of the blade. 4 or 5 sweeps. Push up on the sides. And then I get my flat piece and come over here and just knock the back side burrs off. Again, it doesn't take a whole lot. So now we come to the scissors, and really these have a tendency to be a little easier because you can get in here to the blades. So I'm going to roll my sharpening device, tie it again, get the sandpaper tight against the packing peanut, and then I put the blade right here. Again, follow the angle back and forth. Open that a little bit more where I can catch the inner part of the blade. Just back and forth, back and forth. I can actually see it's polishing the blade right now. Then turn it over on this side. And then I use my flat piece of sandpaper to simply come on the back side, and I put it down there as flat as I can and just simply knock any burrs off that might have existed or been part of our honing process. And we now have a sharpened pair of cigar scissors. So now comes the real test. Now that we have our cutters sharpened, let's see how it works. Come up here to just below the cap and a swift cut, and there we have it. Nice clean cut, perfect draw, and the cigar is ready to enjoy. Thanks for watching.